My name's Ollie. I'm from Olly's farm. We're based here in County Dublin, just up in the valley of Glenasmole, with my partner Christian. We got this place back in 2012, August 2012, and since then we've been basically renovating it and fixing it up. We spent a while searching and we came across this place up here in Glenasmole. It's a small little farm, 8.5 acres, and we moved up here in August 28th to 2012 with the intention of basically having a small holding. And since then we've been expanding it really. We now have our own veg garden, we produce all our own fruit and veg, we have a nice little orchard which have a lot of traditional Irish apple trees. We don't use any fertilisers on the field, we don't use any sprays, so we're trying to encourage wildflowers back into our meadows. And we also keep some livestock such as the Irish Dexter, and we had some Jacob sheep, and we keep a couple of pigs every year as well for us. And I also keep a lot of bees. So the bees are very important, as you've probably heard in the press a lot lately. About a third of the food we eat is actually pollinated by honeybees. So without bees, it'd be a very, very bland shop that we'd be getting our food from. There's a lot of press about the bees at the moment being sort of struggling, but I think people forget that we've about 100 species of bees stroke pollinators here in Ireland, and the honeybee is only really one of them. If we want to help the honeybee, we can actually help the other 98, 99 species, such as the bumblebees, hoverflies, all the different pollinators that there are around. So basically all these honeys are raw, so they're just extracted from the frame and put into a jar in as little steps as possible. They're not heated in any way, so as you can see they start to crystallize over time, which is perfectly natural, and it really doesn't mean that you have to throw it out like people think. If I had a jar of honey sitting in my press for a year and it hadn't crystallised, I'd be worried about it. So here I have a frame of honey from the Wicklow Road in Pollinating, and it's basically 100% pure honey. So the only thing I give them is a sheet of wax foundation, and they basically draw out all these little cells with their own beeswax, and they basically fill it with nectar. And when the nectar is ripe, they'll actually cap it with this lovely white wax. And the only thing I do with this to get this into a jar is I remove with an uncapping fork all these little cappings, so it's exposed like this, and it goes into the extractor there behind you, and it spins round at force and it comes out, and then it basically drains down the walls of the extractor out through a very coarse filter, and then it goes straight into a jar. So no heating, no adulteration. So this is the polytunnel where we grow some of the more exotic fruit and veg, like tomatoes that wouldn't really survive outdoors. Here's some of our onion and garlic harvest from this year, all 100% organic. A lot of farmers now are using catch crops like Phacelia as a green manure. So they basically plant it and they let it grow and flower, and then they basically plough it back into the ground, as a manure really for the ground. And this is what it looks like just after flowering. Phacelia. So here we have part of our wildflower meadow that comes as you come in the gate down the drive both sides. There's a few thistles in at the moment which we left because they were covered again in flies and pollinators, so we don't want them to really seed and take over, so we're going to have to go through them in the next few weeks and basically pull them out by hand because we don't use any sprays. And we'll leave it probably until October, and then we'll trim it completely down to the ground, leave it for maybe a month and then rake it off. So the idea with wildflower meadows is to try and basically starve the soil to give the wildflowers a chance against the grass. So the less nutrition in the soil the better, because the grass, if there is too much nutrition, the grass can tend to take over and basically smother out all the wildflowers. When we moved here, there was hardly a single dandelion in the spring in the fields, and now the place is just yellow. It's amazing just to see it, and you see all the pollinators on it. Nature is coming back, which is fantastic to see.